time left in a state of chaos. Images from inside the former headquarters of electric automaker Fisker show the former facility in complete disarray after the company filed for bankruptcy and vacated the building in a hurry.
Another EV company bites the dust. Once a rising star with big promises, it's now drowning in debt, shutting down factories, and leaving investors with nothing. Was it bad luck or bad leadership? Or was this collapse bound to happen from the start?
Which is the first real competitor to the world's best-selling EV, the Tesla Model Y. It has a longer range than Tesla Model Y, it has more features than Tesla Model Y, and is better priced.
The company started with big promises and a bold vision. Founded by a team of engineers and entrepreneurs who wanted to revolutionize electric transportation, it positioned itself as a serious competitor in the EV market. The mission was clear: deliver high-performance, stylish, and environmentally friendly vehicles that could challenge both established automakers and new EV startups. With aggressive marketing and futuristic designs, it quickly captured public attention. One of the biggest selling points was its technology. The company boasted cutting-edge battery systems, an advanced in-house electric drivetrain, and innovative software integration that promises longer range and better efficiency. It also experimented with fuel cell technology and battery swapping concepts, hoping to differentiate itself in a crowded market. The ambition was sky high, with plans to scale production rapidly and introduce multiple models, including high-performance trucks and SUVs.
If there's no savior, what will you do? And the way you explained it to me is you have $500 million worth of finished goods inventory and parts inventory. And it hasn't really worked selling direct to the consumer.
When the stock launched, investors were excited. The valuation soared as early buyers saw potential in an alternative to Tesla. The media hyped it up as a game changer, and many customers pre-ordered vehicles before they even hit production. For a while, it looked like the company was on its way to becoming a major player. Funding poured in from venture capitalists, institutional investors, and even government programs supporting clean energy initiatives. Big names in the industry backed the company, signing strategic partnerships for battery production and charging infrastructure. Everything seemed to be falling into place, but behind the scenes, cracks were already forming. Money was always a problem. No matter how much funding the company secured, it never seemed to be enough. Investors were asked to inject more cash time and time again, but the spending was relentless. Expansion plans were aggressive, and costs spiraled out of control. Manufacturing facilities, research projects, and marketing efforts all drained resources faster than revenue could come in. As financial reports started looking worse each quarter, confidence in the company started slipping. Building cars proved to be just as difficult. Production deadlines were constantly pushed back, and customers who had placed deposits grew impatient. When vehicles finally rolled out, they were plagued with problems. Complaints poured in about software malfunctions, battery issues, and build quality concerns. Some models were even recalled, damaging the company's reputation further. Early adopters who had once championed the new brand warned others to stay away. Things were just as chaotic at the top. Leadership changes became a regular occurrence, with executives resigning or being forced out. The biggest blow came when the founder faced legal trouble, shaking investor confidence. Boardroom conflicts only made matters worse, and internal disagreements slowed down decision-making when the company needed strong leadership the most.
For Inc.'s October 2020 IPO, the company's market capitalization exceeded $6 billion. We miss those days, don't we? Fisker Inc.'s stock crashed beginning in late 2023 based on reports that the company was failing.
While all this was happening, competitors kept gaining ground. Tesla, Ford, and GM continued refining their EV technology, expanding their charging networks, and offering vehicles people actually wanted. As the competition grew stronger, the company struggled to stay relevant, and the warning signs became impossible to ignore. The company was already struggling, but the fraud case against its former CEO made everything worse. Investigators uncovered that he had misled investors with false claims about vehicle capabilities and production milestones. The promises made to secure funding turned out to be exaggerated, and in some cases completely fabricated. When the truth came out, he was convicted of fraud and sentenced to prison. It was a major embarrassment, and not just for the company, but for the entire EV sector. After the scandal broke, investors panicked. Stock prices, which had already been slipping, took a nosedive. Confidence in the company evaporated overnight. Major backers pulled their support, and banks grew hesitant to provide additional loans. For a business that was already dependent on continuous funding, this was the beginning of the end. Without trust, there was no money, and without money, there was no way to keep operations running. Public perception also changed fast. What was once seen as an exciting, innovative startup became a quick cautionary tale. Customers who had put down deposits started demanding refunds, and suppliers reconsidered their contracts. Regulatory agencies launched their own investigations, piling on more pressure. Lawsuits from investors and former employees followed, adding to the financial mess.
facilities.
In a statement, the company's CEO thanked employees, saying in part, quote, "We know that you believed in our company as..."
Even though the company tried to move forward with its disgraced leader, the damage was permanent. The scandal didn't just destroy the one person's career, it shattered the company's future, leaving it with no real path to recovery. The company had been on life support for months, but the final blow came when it could no longer secure funding. With investors' confidence shattered and cash reserves running dry, suppliers stopped shipments and production came to a halt. Orders were cancelled, employees were left unpaid, and mounting debts became impossible to ignore. Without a bailout or a major buyout, bankruptcy was inevitable. The signs had been there for a while. After multiple failed attempts to raise capital, the company's stock plunged to record lows. The last few months saw massive layoffs as executives scrambled to cut costs. Factories that were once buzzing with activity sat idle, and partnerships that had once seemed promising quietly dissolved. Eventually, when no lifeline appeared, the company filed for bankruptcy protection, confirming what many had already suspected. Thousands of workers lost their jobs, leaving entire communities in limbo. Manufacturing towns that had banked on the company's success were now facing economic uncertainty. Small businesses that depended on factory workers as customers felt the ripple effects almost immediately. Meanwhile, investors, some of who had poured millions into the company, saw their shares become worthless overnight. In a final statement, company executives blamed market conditions, supply chain challenges, and shifting consumer demand. Some insiders admitted that mismanagement played a role, while others insisted that the EV market itself was harder to crack than expected. Regardless of the reasoning, the result was the same. The company had collapsed, leaving a trail of broken promises and financial wreckage behind.
Had first flagged doubts about its viability back in February. A month later, it failed in attempts to win backing from a big car maker. Reuters reported that to be Japan's Nissan. Now Fisker says bankruptcy protection is the best way forward.
One company going bankrupt doesn't mean the entire EV market is in trouble, but it does highlight some real challenges. Electric vehicles are still the future, but not every company will survive. The hype around EV startups led to unrealistic expectations, and many rushed into the market without a solid long-term plan. When funding dried up, reality hit hard. This collapse is a reminder that making cars isn't just about flashy designs and big promises. It's about execution, sustainability, and financial discipline. For new EV startups, this is a lesson in caution. Expanding too fast, over-promising on technology, and relying too much on investor money instead on actual sales is a dangerous game. A few companies have managed to navigate these challenges, but many others are still burning through cash without proving they can deliver at scale. Without a sustainable business model, they risk ending up the same way, out of money and out of time. Government incentives have played a huge role in pushing EV adoption, but they also create artificial success. Some companies survive purely because of subsidies, not because they make good products. While financial support for green technology is important, it can prop up businesses that aren't built to last. Meanwhile, established automakers like Tesla, Ford, and GM are adapting by improving battery tech, lowering costs, and expanding charging networks. Well-funded startups with strong backing and real innovation are also finding their place. The industry is moving forward, but only the strongest will make it. With bankruptcy in motion, the company's fate depends on whether another player sees value in its assets. A government bailout is unlikely, as policymakers have grown cautious about rescuing failing EV startups. A buyout, however, remains possible. Larger automakers or tech firms might be interested in acquiring patents, battery technology, or manufacturing facilities at a discount. If a deal does happen, it will likely be more about salvaging useful components than reviving the brand itself. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.